This particular title is called What Do Living Things Need? We've found over the last couple years that this technology, I mean, it's not such a obvious, easy thing, and we have a lot of teachers call us up and they say, well, what am I supposed to do with all this stuff? Which I think is, they have like this legitimate sense of confusion, there's a lot of people that are confused about how to use these various digital tools in the classroom. So I'd like to just kind of demonstrate one possible way to go about using these resources. But before they do it, I want to say this is not like it's not a curriculum, it's not a textbook, it's a system, a series of resources that are very flexible, and they're designed with flexibility in mind to kind of use how you want to and to where you want to. There's not like a specific scope and sequence. Like we get teachers calling up and say, well, what am I supposed to teach first? It's like, well, that's kind of your call, these days, people are very standards driven, and we have these new standards in Vermont, the Next Generation Science Standards, and well over half of the states in the country have adopted these. And Vermont adopted them with absolutely no changes at all in, I think, June of 2013. So I wanted to start with a standard, and that's how I think most people should start. They should start with a standard or a concept that they want to teach. So this particular concept is from the Vermont Standards, and it's in the unit kind of called Organization for Matter and Energy Flow in Organisms. And the standard says, all animals need food in order to live and grow. They obtain their food from plants or other animals. Plants need water and light to live and grow. And that's from kindergarten. So no, that's not anywhere there. I'm just telling you. I selected this idea, this concept from the Vermont Standards. Okay, the scientific. And it's kindergarten. So I think it's pretty rigorous for kindergarten. So if you know that you have to teach that in kindergarten, you have to then go and select one of these units that teaches this content. And in the teacher's guide, in the teacher's section, there's some ideas for introducing the program. And I'm not gonna, if you want to look at it, the guide we handed out is on page 5 at the top. So if I wanted to start this lesson with the kids, I might say, I want all of you to start this lesson by holding your breath for 10 seconds. Ready, set, go. Okay. Okay. What did you feel? After you held your breath, what did you have a need to do? Breathe. Yeah. Why? We need air to live, right? Okay. It's really an important thing that we all need. Do animals need it? Yes. Do plants need it? Okay, yeah. Everything needs to breathe. What else do we need? Food. Did everyone eat breakfast this morning? Lunch? Okay. What else did you take into your body besides some food? Water, something to drink. Okay. So this would be a good kind of way to start kids thinking about what do living things, including us, need. Okay. The next thing you might want to do is you could give them the pre-assessment, the 10-question pre-assessment. Okay. And that is on page 10. Okay, multiple choice test. I've seen teachers do this as a group and just kind of go through these things, and it's a good way to start teaching the vocabulary that's in this particular concept. Or you don't have to use it if you don't want to. Okay. Another thing that you might want to do before you actually show a particular video clip is to talk about this idea of where people live. Say, well, where do you live? Where do you live, Mr. Lawrence, besides Otter Valley?
That's about it.
Oh, come on. You live in a
house.
A house. Okay. If you're in the city, some kids are going to say they live in an apartment. Okay. So people live in things with buildings and 4 walls around them. Okay. What about a deer? Where does a deer live?
In my yard.
In your yard, eating your flowers. Okay. So you're going to get across this idea of different things live in different places. And you might want to write the word on the board, shelter, and talk about what shelter is. Okay? So after you've done those things, you can show a video clip. So a lot of teachers that's how they're teaching now. They're using clips. They're trying to get away from showing an entire video. So it's a lot harder work, I think, to go and choose your 2 or 3 clips that you want to show in a classroom period, because you kind of have to be scripted. You have to know, what the clips are and where you're going to integrate them instead of just showing an entire video. So we're going to watch this clip called "A Place to Live."
Most people live in houses, apartments, or other buildings. The place we live gives us shelter. It protects us from bad weather. It's a place that we can sleep, eat, and live. All living things need a place to live. You decide. Where do fish live?
So you could stop the video right here, and it's pretty obvious, but the kids will say, well, they live in a pond or a river or a lake.
Fish live in bodies of water, such as ponds, lakes, streams, rivers, or oceans. Animals like bears live in the forest. Bison live in grasslands. Birds live part of their lives in the air. Plants can live in soil and in water. Everything needs a place to live.
So after showing that clip, you might want to go over this activity, which is on page 13. Keep in mind, this is kindergarten, first, second grade, little kids. And this activity involves 2 things. It involves having them look at some animals or plants and deciding which type of environment they live in, okay? And the other thing it involves is to describe the home of this living thing, okay? So one way, you could photocopy this and hand it out to kids, or you could just do it on screen. You could call up the teacher's guide page right here, and you could talk about it. If you hand out this, they could draw a line to the habitat, and then they could maybe have a few keywords about, well, what is this sand dune? Well, this is a desert. What's it like in the desert? It's dry. There's not much rain. It's often windy and hot. Okay, not always, but quite often. Okay, so this is tying in the ELA and the English language arts and the vocabulary words. If you do it in small groups, they can talk about it amongst themselves. So they're getting their speaking skills, and if you want them to start writing complete sentences, you get their writing skills in. So you can really go this way with it. Okay. So this is just a tool to help teachers do this. It's kind of like a stepping stone. So you could end the lesson right there. So it might take 15, 20 minutes or something to do that. If you wanted to keep going that same day, you could talk about some other things that living things need, such as water and food. You can see that there's clips. There's a clip on water. There's a clip on food. There's a clip on air. And you could then do these activities on page 14 and 15. So this is tying right to the standard, because the standard talks about what do plants need. So this one on page 14 is all about what the plant needs. And then on 15 is what does this deer need to survive. So, the deer needs air and water and grass to eat. So, once again, you can have kids write and talk about these things and use the vocabulary appropriately in their discussions in writing. So, just an example of how you can use these products in your science lessons, and particularly for you elementary and primary teachers, how you can integrate them into your reading and language arts program.